Imagine waking up tomorrow with no phone, no internet, no electricity, no books, no TV, no music, nothing. Now imagine living like that every single day for your entire life. Most people think that's exactly how ancient humans lived, constantly running, constantly hunting, constantly trying not to die. It sounds believable. But what if I told you that's probably one of the biggest myths about prehistoric life? The truth is far more surprising. Anthropologists who spent decades studying modern hunter-gatherer societies discovered something that completely changed the way scientists think about our ancestors. Many of these communities don't spend all day searching for food. In fact, they often spend only 3 to 5 hours a day hunting, fishing, or gathering. That's it. Think about that for a second. If they weren't searching for food all day, what were they actually doing? The answer is surprisingly familiar. They talked a lot. They shared stories around the fire. They laughed. They played games. They taught children. They repaired tools. They made clothes. They decorated objects. They rested. They simply spent time together. In other words, survival wasn't just about finding food. It was about building relationships. One of the most famous studies, involving the Zhuangzi people of southern Africa, found that many adults had more free time than the average modern office worker. Let that sink in. People living without supermarkets, without cars, without electricity, sometimes had more leisure time than we do today. That's almost impossible to believe. Of course, life wasn't easy. There were predators, injuries, diseases, cold winters in many parts of the world, and no hospitals. But here's something interesting. When enough food had been collected, they usually stopped working. There was no reason to gather thousands of extra berries if everyone had already eaten. Unlike many of us today, they didn't keep chasing more for the sake of more. Today we answer one more email, watch one more video, scroll for another 20 minutes, work a little longer. Ancient humans often lived differently. When the day's work was finished, the day belonged to them. And that's where something incredible happened. Those quiet hours weren't wasted. They were probably the reason humanity survived. Children learned by watching adults. Knowledge wasn't stored in books. It lived inside people's memories. Stories became lessons, lessons became traditions, traditions became survival. A child listening carefully around a campfire might learn which berries were poisonous, how to track animals, how to recognize dangerous weather, or how to avoid a deadly mistake. One forgotten story could literally cost someone their life. Around those fires, people also fell in love. They argued, they made friends, they solved problems together, they invented new ideas. Some scientists even believe that our language became more advanced because humans spent so much time communicating with one another during those peaceful moments. In a strange way, civilization may not have begun during the hunt. It may have begun after dinner, sitting around a fire, talking, listening, sharing experiences. So the next time you imagine ancient humans running through forests every minute of every day, remember this. The evidence tells a very different story. Yes, they worked hard when they had to, but when the work was done, they rested, they laughed, they told stories. They spent time with the people they cared about, and in those quiet moments between survival, they slowly built the foundations of everything we call human today.